Hello, everyone, and my background, once again, it's a mess. Maybe this is turning into a recurring thing where I always comment on the background, but anyway, so I have a little something to talk about today. It is this thing called, well, I don't know if this is the the official name. I mean, some people speak of I think it's called HPS, so a highly sensitive person. So I guess that would be HSP. My bad, my apologies. So HSP, highly sensitive person. That's an acronym that gets thrown around. So like really sensitive people, essentially. So what does that mean? So like you experience things more strongly than other people. Like the highs feel better and the lows feel much worse than for other people, and you get really excited about things that you're interested in, but then also if someone says something a little mean or there's a loud noise like a crack, a bang, an explosion, something, maybe gunshots, and you're like, oh my god, um, and it could in some sense be related to autism as well, maybe, but I don't know. I will, yeah. So you have to be a little careful when giving yourself all these diagnoses. Um, you have to make sure that you're actually benefiting from from describing yourself, right? You don't just want to like uh, come up with things just for the sake of things. But on the other hand, I will say that if you are different, then sometimes I think it varies a lot from person to person. But for me, like it's somehow, I don't know if I should be using my hands. Usually I like to use my hands. But the problem is that I'm sitting down, and like usually it's only when I stand up that I feel comfortable using my hands. Usually when I'm sitting down, it's not as natural, but maybe I'll try to use my hands a little bit. I when I'm standing up, I use my hands, so maybe it makes maybe I'll try to practice using my hands even when sitting down, even though I fear that I'll hit the microphone or do something. Anyway, yes, I'm getting distracted. So, um, highly sensitive people. For me, it can be really difficult to admit that I'm somehow different, um, but I have definitely noticed that I definitely am. Um, and I don't have notes for this video, by the way. This is completely unscripted, which means it's probably going to be totally fucking unwatchable. I'm sorry for that, but it's not. I mean, this is mostly just for my own therapy sake. Like, I don't expect that anyone's actually going to be watching this, so it doesn't really matter, even though this is a complete mess. But anyway, so um, I feel like I am different, right? But admitting to yourself that you're different is really difficult because, especially when it comes to these sorts of like inner thoughts, right? And especially inner thoughts that only affect your life at certain times. And, because sometimes everything's fine. I mean, if I'm having lunch with my friends and I'm having fun, it's like my friends see that and they're like, well, we're just having fun, like they can't see inside my head. So everything seems to be fine. And to be fair, when I'm having lunch with my friends, everything's fine. But then maybe someone drops their fork on the floor, and it's like, oh, I feel that I feel the fork dropping, on the ground, and it hurts. It does, but I don't say anything, right? Because what, I don't want to start complaining to my friends about like some fork, um, but stuff like that. So people can't see inside my head. But then, the times when it like really affects me, um, like those don't necessarily happen every day. Um, like occasionally a friend will say something a little mean to me that definitely wasn't even that mean. Like it might just be like constructive criticism or whatever, but I'll just feel like, oh God, like I have just failed as a human being, and now I have to like let it all out and go like fucking cry in some corner somewhere. And yeah, and then I usually do that if I have the opportunity. Um and sometimes there will be some friends around who have to see me go through that, and like it's so annoying, but they'll try to like make me feel better by saying stuff like, "Oh, I didn't mean it that way. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, you have to understand that, this isn't a big deal. Nothing bad happened. Look, you're safe. Everything is all right." And in my head, I'm thinking, like, yeah, I know. I know that everything is all right. I know that, like, it's all good. I know. But it's like my feelings don't care. It's that one Ben Shapiro, meme that's been going around. Like, facts don't care about your feelings. Um, for me, it's the other way around. My feelings don't care about the facts. Like, I'll just feel like shit, and I feel like maybe honestly it makes it worse, because I will start thinking that, oh, I'm not supposed to feel bad right now because nothing bad happened, so why am I feeling bad? And then I'll start feeling even more bad because I'm not supposed to be feeling bad, and then I'll start feeling really bad, and then I'll start like apologizing for feeling bad, but then I'll feel even more bad, and I'll just fucking break down and fucking cry over nothing, and my friends will be like, what is going on? Like, because I think the worst part is that they just don't understand, because most people are not, like, do not work that way. And then they start like thinking that, oh, like, I maybe I did something wrong, and you know, I mean, maybe they did something slightly wrong, but it's not that, like, the problem is me, not them, because I overreact to things, and I would love to not overreact, but I can't control my feelings because my feelings take control of me. And that happens constantly. Um, and I feel really bad about it, but that's not, I mean, right now, that's not what I'm struggling with. I feel like I also struggle a lot with love, because, like, and by the way, I love shoving my gayness down people's throats. So, if it helps you contextualize this in your head better somehow, then, you know, just for your information, I am gay. I date men. Yeah, have fun with that information. Have fun painting your little pictures in your head. Because, I think it's important to shove the gay agenda down people's throats, because sometimes in modern society, people forget that we exist. But anyway, this is not a video about that. This is me talking about my oversensitivity. Um, so when I fall in love with someone, I like really like fall in love with them like hard. And then I feel like sometimes, and it happens fast too. Like, it can be like, sometimes it can all happen so quickly. And I will start getting kind of like obsessed. And I like, because I'm a smart guy, I know, absolutely, like, I know that, I don't want to be too clingy. I want to give the other person their own personal space, and I do, and because I need my own personal space too. It's, I don't, like, in theory, I have it all figured out. It's not a problem. Don't worry. But in practice, um, whenever if I like miss the other person, then it'll feel so strong. So like, I'll just think about the moments that we've shared together, and if we're not together, then it'll be really rough. Like if it's a long distance relationship, especially, then I feel like just my brain isn't built for that. I mean, long distance relationships, they're difficult for everyone, but I feel like they're even harder for me as a highly sensitive person. Um, and yeah, I think I've skipped over some of the other insecurities that I've had about being an overly sensitive person, because you know I said that I hate admitting the fact that I'm different, and it's like, people easily think that, oh, well, everyone experiences emotions, and sometimes those emotions can be really strong. Everyone goes through that. Everyone falls in love, like, really strongly sometimes, and everyone feels really sad sometimes. Everyone cries a little sometimes, and sometimes people cry a lot, and that's like normal. But then it feels like you're ignoring the fact that for me this happens constantly, and it like subjectively it feels it feels it's such a strong thing. Like the tiniest things can make me like unable to function for the maybe not the rest of the day always, but also pretty much kind of for the rest of the day. um like it I have these really strong emotional responses to sometimes just very mundane things. Um, Maybe I can give an example, and I feel bad for giving this example because it makes me seem like a terrible person, um, but it. I mean, everyone, we all make mistakes sometimes, so it's that's just part of life. But I think it's also healthy to be able to get over your own mistakes and not maybe not break down on the floor crying over them every night. But anyway, so I was walking around campus with my friends, and um, I mean I was feeling maybe I wasn't feeling so great, but anyway, I, I like for some reason because I'm a really like open person for some reason. I like to be really open about things. Uh, like for example, shoving my sexuality down people's throats. I mean, I don't enjoy doing that, but I feel like I kind of have to do that because fuck, people forget that we exist for real. And yes, but this is not about that. So I, for some reason, I start talking about how weird it is that I sometimes, and by the way, for context, I'm 20, so I'm not like, because you could imagine someone talking about this in middle school, right? But I'm 20, so I should behave like an adult, right? I feel like that's another problem I have where I'm an adult, but do I really feel like an adult? I don't know. I feel like a child sometimes. But anyway, so I start talking about how it's really weird that I was getting so relaxed in uh on a lecture that I had like an erection, an unwanted erection. Because sometimes that happens where if I'm really relaxed, then I just get an erection for some reason. I don't know how common that is. I like for people past puberty, right? I'm not going through puberty anymore, right? That is past me. So yeah, we're in kind of like, I mean, we're walking around campus, right? So people could hear, maybe. Um, I mean, I don't, yeah. So like theoretically, people could hear. I mean, we were outdoors; it wasn't very crowded, but they were. One of my friends was felt a little uncomfortable in the situation, and later, he told me that, yeah, I don't want you to talk about really like really well, how should I describe it? Like, really, sensitive topics like that when in public, I just, when we're in private, it's okay. But when we're in public, you can't do that. Do you understand? You can't do that. Do you understand? He would say, like, do you understand? Yeah. I mean, he wasn't like, no, I mean, he wasn't like terribly aggressive about it, but he also could have been smoother about it as well. Um, and, and I mean, I understand. Obviously, it's a fair point. I messed up. I genuinely messed up. But then, I feel like any normal person would like hear that and be like, yeah, you're absolutely right. Like, oh my god, like, yeah, I'll do better next time. Don't worry about it. And well, that's what I tried to say. But then it came out as like this like awkward like yeah. I couldn't really speak very well in the moment, and then I just basically rushed home to like cry. Like, this is, this isn't it doesn't seem like a very mature way to handle a situation, right? I mean, of course it doesn't, but it's like, because it affects me a lot mentally. I feel that shit, you know, differently than most people do. It's and I know, rationally, like, if someone said, because he did say that, oh, well, it's not a terribly big deal or anything. Just try to be more mindful of that in the future. That's what he said, right? And like, obviously, right? It wasn't a big deal. I know that. But my emotions are telling me, oh god, you have failed as a person. You have to fucking kill yourself right fucking now, because you do not deserve to live, because you have failed your friend. You made them uncomfortable. How could you? How could you? You terrible monster. That's how my brain treats me. Or no, that's how my emotions treat me. My brain is like, yeah, it was kind of fun. It's kind of funny to how erections are kind of funny. That's what my brain is thinking. Because really, I mean, no one got hurt. I was talking about my own erection. Like, come on, isn't that kind of funny? I mean, it's immature. I mean, how is a 20-year-old talking about having erections in class? Like, oh my god, grow up, grow up. But it's kind of funny. Like, my brain, my brain thinks it's funny, but my emotions, it's like, whew, like, like, it feels like, oh god, what have I done? I just failed my friend over here, and I just want to cry. And and people will think, like, or I don't know, mm, I think I ran out of things to say. But it sucks being a highly sensitive person. It sucks. I hate it. I wish I wasn't this way. I wish I could laugh about things and move on and not be so bothered. But I can't. But then, if someone says something really nice, then also, that'll also hit me really hard. I'll be like, just like smiling, and I'll be like so energetic. I'll be like, dancing and waving my hands up in the air, and everything's a party all the time. But then when someone like uh when something bad happens, I just don't know how to. I mean, I don't know how to deal with the emotions that come with it. And like, I'm a smart guy. Again, the problem is not that I can't like think about my own, because I think about my past behavior all the time. I try to optimize my own behavior all the time. I think about what I've done. I think about what I could do differently, etc. That's not the problem. And when I'm in a good like regular state of mind, I'm very good at doing that. I'm very good at doing that. I'm very good at analyzing things. But then, when I'm just overwhelmed by all these emotions, I will just break down, and it doesn't take a lot. It really doesn't take a lot to completely rehabilitate me as a person. And it because it hurts is the thing. Like, I will genuinely, it will feel so bad that I will just wish that I was not alive at that moment in time. I will just think that, oh, I wish I was never born because there is so much suffering in my life, because every tiny little thing goes through to my brain and then gets like amplified into this whole humongous enormous monster that takes over the entirety of me, and then I just can't really do anything besides cry, or be sad, or do something along those lines. And I hate that. I wish I could be normal. I More than anything, I wish I could be normal in that regard. Like, I wish I could experience things the way that normal people experience things. I wish my experiences were more normal. I that is But then it's difficult because sometimes I think that, oh, but it's also tremendously beautiful that whenever there is something that I like, because, like, I cried so fucking hard at the end of the Barbie movie, for example, because I just found it so inspiring, so beautiful. So whenever I see something even just slightly beautiful in the world, I'll be like, fuck, that's good. That's some good fucking shit, bro. And it'll be, seriously, it'll be the best thing in the whole world, you know. Also, I've been reading up about like overly sensitive people, like how they tend to behave, and apparently, like, a lot of people actually don't really get along too well uh by themselves, or like they don't enjoy just being alone and listening to their own thoughts, for example. But I love doing that. Or like, I have a friend who says, he's like, oh yeah, no, my thoughts, I don't really like them. They're usually pretty negative, so I just browse through like Instagram memes just to drown out my thoughts. I don't really like my own thoughts. I don't like being alone in a room. Yeah. And it's like, I'm like, oh, what are you saying? Because I love, like, thinking about things and hearing myself. I have this like very vocal like inner monologue where I like discuss things in my plans and stuff like that, and it's always so much fun. Um, it's so nice. Um, so yeah, my laundry just finished. Yes, as I was saying, I said that I like, being with myself, listening to my own inner monologue, and some people don't do that, and that could be somewhat related to maybe hypersensitivity. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe not. But yeah, I like thinking about things. I like talking with myself. Like, this video is basically just me talking to myself, and it's fun. I love talking and thinking and inspecting the world. Yep, cool stuff. But yes, I don't know if I have anything else to say. This video is getting really long. Thank you all for listening to my to my struggles, and I guess the message that I want to leave and send out to the world is that if you're a hypersensitive person, then you are not alone. Okay, you are not alone, and it can be really fucking difficult sometimes. I swear to God, it can be so fucking difficult when everything feels like this strong, when everything feels so like impactful, or like, I guess, one other thing that I feel is that I feel like my emotions are like uh really foggy, in the sense that I feel like for a lot of other people, they have like very clearly defined emotions. There's anger, there's like jealousy, there's like envy, there's like whatever other things. And yes, jealousy and envy are actually different things. Um, yes, but for me, it's all just a muddled mess, in the sense that my brain will just either be like in happy mode, like all happy, and then I'll be like ready to do things. I'll be all fired up, or I'll be in a neutral state of mind where I can concentrate really well. There's no like fogging up anything. There's just me concentrating on something. And then there's the dark place that I hate talking about, but that needs to be talked about. Where I'm just crippled on the floor, just crying. Um, but the happy place can also be really strong, in the sense that I can, if I'm really in love with someone and we're having an intimate moment, and I can be on the floor, like fucking shaking and shit, just out of like pure bliss and joy. That can also happen. So, so there really is this crazy wide array of emotions that I go through sometimes, and it's kind of fucking scary. And maybe one reason for why it's so scary is like, if you're struggling with depression, then you can always say that, oh, it'll get better eventually. Trust me, it'll get better. But when you're struggling with depression doesn't always get better, but sometimes it does. A lot of the time it does. But with hypersensitivity, I don't know if there's light at the end of the tunnel. I genuinely don't know. I feel like my entire fucking life could be just total misery. Like half of it, or a third of it, or some portion of it. But and it feels so rough, because I'm serious about it. When I feel down, I feel like I just want to end it all. I want to fucking kill myself. Is how it feels. It's so rough to go through this like emotional roller coaster. That's my life. It feels rough. And again, my life is not difficult by any means. God, I am the most privileged person on earth, right? There is nothing like objectively difficult about my life. But my brain is like, oh my God, everything's a mess. Everything's going horribly wrong. Oh God. And then my like analytic brain will be like, no, but come on, it's not a problem at all, actually. But then my brain my emotions will be like, do you know what I'm saying? And I don't know, it can be difficult to relate to that if you don't experience that. But if you do experience that, then you are not alone. And I don't know if there's light at the end of the tunnel. I am fucking scared to continue living my life, because I know that there will be so much misery, so many dark places ahead of me. But I still think that it's all worth it for the beautiful moments in between, because you also get to see the pure bliss and the pure beauty of the world, because the world is at its best. It's the most beautiful thing that could possibly exist, and it is fucking wonderful too. It is so fucking cool. The concept of love, the concept of people just looking out for another. Fuck. That's good. The world needs that desperately. You and I need that, and everyone needs that. Look out for one another and be nice and forgive and let go and be understanding and be open minded and fucking goddamn spread the love. Because what else are you gonna do? What else? What else would be more important than spreading love? What else could possibly be more important? I don't know. There is nothing more important than spreading your love. There is nothing more important. And I will continue to try to spread love and understanding and forgiveness into the world, even though sometimes the world treats me harshly, and sometimes it will feel rough. But I feel like it is my mission and my duty to try to remain positive despite everything. And objectively, there's my life is great, but subjectively it can feel really fucking tough. But it can also be so beautiful when you really connect with someone and you really see that you're making a difference in someone's life. You are really bringing light to this world. There is nothing more beautiful than that. And you can be the light in someone else's world. Yes, you can. We all can. Okay. I'm gonna end it here. You're not alone. Trust me. You're sensitive, highly sensitive person. You are not alone. And I love you. And if you are not highly sensitive, I love you either way, because the world needs all of us. Every single one. Every single one. Thank you.